Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the Innovation Coffee. Innovation Coffee is a podcast in which we try to involve actors with the different roles within the innovation environment and listen to their stories. Today, I'm particularly glad to announce this new episode as we are also kicking off the third season. In this season, we will have many new guests, new topics to discuss about, and a reinforced team. Other things, on the other hand, will remain the same as in the past, as for the example, the hosting team. So I'm Marco, calling from Milan, and co-hosting with me there are...
I'm Davide, calling from Asti, near Torino.
And I'm Marco, and I'm calling from Barcelona at the moment.
No, nice. Barcelona, yes. Very, very international team. So today we will talk about the journey from university to startup, and we have the pleasure to have with us Marco Borgato. Marco, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
And I don't want to spoiler anything because it will be the first question, but Marco has been living in basically all the world, launching many ventures. So why don't we start from the beginning? And Marco, tell us about your background and your journey.
For sure, guys. Well, I mean, for the background, I would say I'm gonna start from after university, because of course I did like university, like at Bocconi. I studied finance, and then I studied entrepreneurship. Then I graduated, and I decided to jump into my first startup project, and that was called Flash Time. And I decided to try to revolutionize the world by creating a new social network. I started the journey in 2015. And basically, I worked for this startup for basically almost 5 years, and I failed during the process for 3 times. And maybe, after when we going on with the podcast, we're gonna to discuss about the positioning and pivoting of this project. But basically, I started in 2015. I failed in 2017 with this project. I failed in 2019, and every time I try to start again from the beginning, try to fix the problems, and try to come up with new solution to basically survive. Because my idea was so big that I wanted to take my time to basically face the problems and raise money and eventually maybe change the world. And I wasn't able to do it. So in the meantime, I also worked with the other side hustles projects, and I tried to also develop new ideas in the meantime in order to survive with the money, etc. And I came up with other venture projects that right now I'm persevering and I'm pursuing. So yeah, I'm here to let you know my failures and a little bit of my successes. Yeah, but it's very, very small successes right now because I don't have too many,
No, it's cool. And how would you describe doing startups straight after the university? And would you do it again? Are you happy about this?
I mean, very hard. But for me, I'm the type of guy that is very creative and purpose driven. So once I come up with an idea, I can't stop working on that idea. So it's very hard for me to stick to a very definitive road where everything is clear, because I like to navigate in complex situations. So of course, after university, I was very cocky, and I was like, yeah, I can do this. It's very simple for me to develop an idea like that, and I can make the biggest startup in the world. I can change the world. But then I realized that I was making a lot of mistakes since the beginning, because I wasn't able to doing project management and basically creating this idea and turning it into a practical product, right? So for me, it was very hard, essentially, to pass from the business plan where we learn at Bocconi, okay, you have to do the business plan and etc. And then you can start. Yeah, but once you develop the business plan, it's very hard if you don't know how to implement that to basically move in this complex situation. So it was exciting after university because you were like, okay, now I'm free, like I can take 3 years of my time to try to persevere my ideas. What was very, an emotional roller coaster. So yeah, we can discuss that in the pivot, maybe in the pivoting process of the startups maybe later, but yeah, definitely.
What about the feelings that you mentioned? So
the feeling?
Yeah, like what was the best feeling that you said?
Nah, guys,
I'm sure there were also some good ones.
The problem is that when you are young and you're trying to do a startup, you are like terribly alone because nobody can understand what you're doing. Because first of all, you are not able to communicate your idea or what you're doing in a good way that everyone can understand. So when basically you're talking with your friends or the other people, they really don't know what you're doing. They think you're not working actually. So they think that you're like doing a hobby or something like that. So for me, like being in this position where basically I'm the type of guy that maybe superficially looks like, oh yeah, this guy is like I don't know, like he's not an entrepreneur, right? It's like it doesn't look like a smart guy, right? Like maybe superficially. So to speak about my ideas to my friends, etc., was very hard because they didn't understand. So I was very alone, and also when things don't go well, you're even more alone because they don't know. So that was the emotional roller coaster, and that lasted for at least 3-4 years because we didn't have any result because we did a lot of mistake in the first project. So 3-4 years alone, and then eventually I was able to have some successes and some elements of results that could be shown to the people. No, and there was like metrics that I could show. There was a product that I could show. So at that moment, people were like, okay, now I understand what you're doing. But still, though, then from that to become a successful entrepreneur is like something like completely different. So even there was the pressure to show to the people what I was doing. And the problem is that when you leave your entrepreneurial journey in a way where you want to show to people that you're good at that journey, that's where you burn out. Because at that point, you don't work anymore for the actual product and the startup. You work for the others. And that's what I did as a mistake in 2016-17. I was trying to show to the people they care about me, or the friends, or all the haters, probably, like, I don't know, some, of course there were like haters because they didn't know what I was doing. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. And that when you burn out, because you put too much pressure on yourself, you're not focused on what you're doing, and you burn out. And then and I realized that mistake, and I switched my mind completely. And then that's when I started to have some kind of results when I focus on my things.
Yeah. So this regarding a little bit also like too much social pressure on what you're doing, especially if people cannot understand it. And then like just try to stick to your plan and to your vision, and try to support it, and try to achieve it. How about good feelings? Because these are like and that's the tough part of like being a good, like a student to start. Whereas, how about the
good part?
Yeah, because you said it was a good idea to do it, but you already mentioned bad feelings, so there must be.
The thing is that there is not a good part in this process. Like, not seriously, I liked it a lot. Well, what I like about the entrepreneurship is that you live every day with a sense of purpose and a sense of vision. So what makes me happy every day when I work is that I'm purpose driven, so I know why I'm doing something. And my happiness relies on my purpose and on the potential vision that I have in my mind, so I can see the future. And so I'm very excited from this feeling that, okay, I already know what my project can be in 5 years. The problem is that, of course, making it a reality. But that for me is a good feeling, because I'm feeling every day excited, because I already know what I can do. The problem, so that's the only good feeling, because apart from that, I put a lot of pressure on me and on my ideas, and that is only like a challenge, like a daily challenge, and to basically making sure that I stick to the plan and I just don't screw things up.
Yeah, how about the interaction with the team? So is it helping like dealing with these challenges, or is it challenge
well,
itself?
it depends. So for the first project that I developed, that was the social network, not at all, because we started like in four, as early, young founders. So nobody had the experience, etc., to deal with the problems, like basically our own problems, and so for sure even less with other people problems. So everyone was living like their own journey. Okay, so it was very difficult to support each other, because we were inexperienced, right? With these other startups that I'm doing right now, with a more like I would say professional team, okay? Because the team where basically I'm working with right now is very, way more professional. So we can talk more every week about our problems. We can speak one-to-one about the expectations that we have from each other, and we can basically develop every week, an environment where everyone can speak one-to-one and gives feedback. So that the important thing is that we don't, leave things behind in terms of, emotions, misunderstandings, etc. Because that's the problem. The journey is already tough. If the team is not aligned and emotionally, basically aligned, so if the team is not like one organization, when everyone is happy, you suffer way more. And that's the problem that I had with my first social network startup. Everyone was not emotionally aligned, and we suffered.
Yeah, I can imagine. But improving communication and having more senior people on the team, like with different background, that is also force a little bit the communication on this topic.
Yeah, more than the senior team is a team where there is a leader that is able to communicate the vision and the purpose to the rest of the team immediately since the beginning, to align the team around every emotional roller coaster that you're gonna have in the journey. If you don't do this since the beginning, I can assure you that when you're gonna have a problem, the team is gonna burst like a bubble, because you don't have values and a vision to basically navigate in this complex problem that you're facing in that context. Okay, so yeah.
No, it's interesting. Now maybe we can focus, move back from your personal perspective to the ideas perspective. So like trying to see, you mentioned a few startups. We know that you made like quite a few of them, even more. And how did you select the ideas? Because on the one hand you made many, but I'm sure you had even more.
Yeah.
So how do you select the idea that is the one that you want to pursue and then that you want to dedicate your time?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. So first of all, how I come up with an idea is, for me, is very like, I think I have a disease, because every day I have some kind of idea that I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, I can do that. Yeah, this is like a problem right now. I can solve this problem. And but then I'm like, okay, no, wait, Marco, wait, chill. I'm already focusing on other stuff. But yeah, basically, let me tell you how I came up with the first social network idea, so that you can realize my process of how I came up with the idea. So the first social network was called Fashion, and what I wanted to try to do was to come up with something in the social media industry that could basically remove the pressure from the on social media, because at that time I was witnessing that many people on Instagram and Facebook were caring too much about the like. So everyone was like having so much pressure in social media. So I was like, no, I want to create something that is like basically totally free from the like pressure, etc. Then I was like, yeah, but people like, not a lot of people are making money on social media, like only top influencers, etc. And we actually are spending so much time, right, on social media. We're giving data away, etc. So nobody is really like making money. So I said, oh, I should like create also something that basically is able to create a sort of like universal basic income, right? So where people can make money by spending time and generating attention on their social media platforms. Keep in mind that at that time was 2015, so nobody was talking about the like, nobody was talking about crypto, decentralized finance, etc. So I just had this idea, etc. So that's where I started to come up with the social network idea, etc. And I stick to that. At that time, also to make you understand also how my mind works as a psycho. I was in Copenhagen, and I was like using Tinder to go out with girls, right? So what happened is like I realized that every time I wanted to meet with a person in Copenhagen, I had to schedule a meeting with this person. So I date in a specific time, and sometimes they couldn't, sometimes I couldn't. So like we were supposed to chat a lot to organize the meeting, and so probably I would never go out with someone, right? Or maybe like once in a while. So I was like, yeah, man, let me do something where instead of swiping between profiles, I swipe between basically dating proposals, right? So I cut everything, chats and everything, and I make people swipe only on dating proposals so they can meet faster. And so I started to develop that idea at the same time with fashion. So that's how my mind works. Like every time I observe reality and I say, okay, I don't like this situation, I try to do better than that. And until I got like after a first time failed, basically, we can talk about that later. But I had like 6 months when I was like, okay, let me do something else. I don't want to do ideas. I don't want to do startups anymore for a while, right? Because I want to first learn and then do another startup again. But after 6 months, I came up with another idea. And I was like, yeah, wait, this is like a crazy idea. Let me do it. So right now, right now, I'm actually doing this, and it's actually like in the eco industry, but I apply some topics of decentralized finance, and so right now I'm persevering that, and it actually is going good. So, and also I don't want to talk about what it is that I have in the between Fashman, etc. Because also I had like other ideas that were not like startups. I was like watching like I was watching Itch. There was like basically a movie where Will Smith like teach love to other people, right? So basically what happened is like I went out with my friends. We met 2 girls. I started to talk with them, and I remember that I saw a sentence. I heard a sentence in the movie, and I totally replicated that sentence in that context. And I was like, you know what? Actually, this sentence is crazy. Let me do like an Instagram page where I teach people, Italian people, love in a smart way. So basically, I came out with this idea, and I developed like an Instagram page with 100K followers in 3 months, where basically I was like the Italian Itch. There was like teaching people to find the right love and how to say the sentences to a girl like in a good way. 100K followers, and I was making money because people were like paying me, and I had a blog, etc. So it was like kind of like a small startup. Then unfortunately they hacked my page, so I had to start from the beginning. I feel okay, nice. But I mean, this is how my mind works.
This was an unlucky one, because you like it was getting quite big and popular and fun. But like if they hack you, like there is not much.
Yeah.
And then the starting.
Yeah. It was Will Smith hacking you, like.
So yeah, but to summarize, I mean, I really struggled to stop myself from ideas, guys. So yeah. But I mean, I taught myself in the last 2 years to just be like more focused to just 2 things, more like no more than 2 things at the same time. Yeah.
I like more. Okay, so it was more like an instinct-based decision.
Yeah, because also like in the meantime, I was also working for, of course, because when I didn't have like financing for Fashtime, so my social network, etc. I also had to work for other like kind of startups as a consultant, etc., to make money, etc. So I already was like, juggling between a lot of things. So it was yeah.
Well, that's really interesting, Marco. So so let me just jump directly into this point of your different ideas and the fact that you had to switch between one over the other. So basically, so from what I understood, you face different, let's say, moments which you have to change direction, so different pivots. So basically, can you describe a bit these moments that you passed through, and how did you identify, for example, the right timing to move from one or the other? I imagine it's not easy to understand. Okay, this is the moment in which this idea it cannot go
for sure.
Beyond, and I need to switch. So how was more or less your reasoning there, and how did you change between?
Well, first of all, one thing that I didn't mention before that is connected to this question is that every time I do like more than one idea at the same time, everything somehow is connected, because I can exploit some of the ideas that I have in another project to the project that I'm using in that moment. So it's like I have a core project and then a lot of side projects, but everything like participate in the process of pushing the core project, because I learn from mistakes on a side project and I can apply those learning to my core project. So that happened to me a lot. And also very important, I can meet a lot of people in that process of doing a lot of side projects that I can leverage to basically push again the core one. For example, like I realized with my fashion project that we didn't have a designer, etc., to do some of the screens of the app, etc. So I did it by myself, right? But then I started to work as with a side project when I basically hire in this project like a designer, and I realized this designer was super great, and then we used that designer to basically improve my fashion, my social network project. But beside that, how I basically pivot generally, first of all, you gotta get over yourself, man. Like you are not like your original idea. You don't have to fall in love too much on your original idea. Like fashion. So the thing that I told you before about removing the like and then making sure that everyone can make money, etc. It wasn't like that at the beginning. It was just like a fashion network where people were using time instead of the like to express the interest on photos of others. It was a very buggy app. It was a very messy one because you could really understand nothing inside the app. Then I burned out because I was trying to make it happen, even if I knew it, there was like a wrong direction that I was taking, right? So I stopped because my ego was like, no, I mean, you are invincible. Like, this is like great idea. So like I stopped. I stopped for 2 months. I tried to study the market a little bit. But the very good thing is like, I realized that I had a problem with the startup. And so once I realized that I had the problem, I could study more about the market and how people were doing actually the thing that I was trying to do. I switched my mind a little bit. So my mind was able to rest a little bit. So I was able to sink in and on more on a higher level and not on a micro level, because sometimes I was like focusing more on the bullshit, I was focusing on things that didn't matter. And so at that point, you have to take courage to change completely, because it's not take for granted, because you maybe like fight it for 2 years and you try to build a castle, like a big house, and then you have to destroy the house. You have to start it from the beginning. So you have to take courage. Yeah. So you realize the problem, you study, you take courage to basically start again from the beginning. Number 4, you can also convince the team to start from the beginning. So it's not easy, that part, because maybe they are not aligned like you, right? So they need to understand. You need to force yourself to do it, but also you need to basically push the others to believe again in you and in a new era, in a new journey. Very tough. But once you realize that, and once you realize that to survive you need to pivot, it's very easy to pivot, because at that point it's very clear. You made mistakes and you learn. Now you go faster, and when you go faster, you can reach a goal faster and result faster. In fact, for 2 years we did nothing with Fashion, and once we pivoted in 1 year, we became the first #1 social network in Italy for downloads, and we stayed on #1 for 3 months. So we got like 300K users in 1 year, and before we just had 5,000 users that were not actually using the app. So 300,000 users, a lot of were active, a lot of feedbacks. Things were going great. The problem is that you can pivot as much as you want, but until a certain moment where basically if you don't have the money to keep going and the team again is not aligned, the pivot at the end it finished and you fail, because you cannot pivot if you are not, if it's not like a sustainable pivoting, right? And that happens with Ashtam, and it also happened with other startups too. So yeah.
Okay. So basically, it's a kind of moment of realization, both from a personal side, like a feeling side, but also because, of course, you feel that there is not the right.
You are exhausted. Yeah, you're at a point you are exhausted. You gotta change. If you want to keep going, you gotta change. So yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. And so about this, you also talk about a little bit about your sources. So let's discuss briefly about the financing. So what were your main sources of financing in general when you started, and over time, how did you obtain financing, and if you did leverage any alternative, let's say, source of financing also to sustain the different ideas that you had?
Yeah. So at the beginning, tried to convince my parents to believe in me. Wasn't easy because they wanted. They thought that after Bocconi, I would choose a very conservative and very simple road, right? Being hired by a company, etc. So wasn't easy, but they believe in me, so they give some money to me to start the project, etc. Of course, then what happened is that we ran out of money a little bit, and so I had to actually, well, first of all, we were of course actively looking for an investor, right? During that time, of course, the project was before the pivoting, so it was very difficult to actually communicate this idea to the investor. So I decided to actually try to go all in, and I wanted to go to again after a while, because I already been there, but to US to look for an investor, because I believe that there I could find something, right? The American dream was alive in me. When I was in America, everything was easier. So I said, you know what, let me go to LA and let me try to look for an investor. I'm gonna find an investor. So actually, then there was the first problem. I don't have money to go to LA, man. How can I go to LA? So okay, first problem. So it was actually December 2017. December 2016. I went to Berlin. In the plane, I met a woman of 55 years old. We started to talk, and I heard an accent. She was Californian, and I was like, "Yeah, are you from California?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm from LA." I was like, "Damn, I want to go to LA." Well, she was if you want, you can come. I have a big house next to Beverly Hills. You can come. So basically, I was like, "Yeah, you kidding me? You don't even know me." But eventually, she actually, brought me to LA. So I just had to buy a ticket, and I stayed there in her house for free, almost free, for 6 months. And that's for me is I was like, God, someone is telling me go to LA to look for an investor, because this is clear sign that I'm finding someone. And so I had to go. So I went to LA, but for 6 months, nothing. I didn't find nothing, and just ran out of money, my personal money. And so I had to ask to my friend. So that becomes the second bootstrapping, to my friend to loan me some money. So he gave me some money, just a limited sum of money to survive and put the money in Fashtam together with my other co-founders. So for 2 years we literally bootstrapped it. We pivoted, then we were able. I came back to Italy because in America I couldn't find nothing. It was just a failure, etc. So we came back to Italy for 6 months, nothing. We pivoted, and then we found an investor that was the CEO of Gucci at that time, was the pharmacy of Gucci. So he believed in us, invested in us, 350K. We were able to run the company. We had people, etc. But of course, the money started to basically drop, because we didn't find already a model to monetize our users. So we ran out of money. So we asked for, we went for the debt. So we went to a bank. At the moment, you could basically get money in very cheaper terms. So we get the money from the banks. Then of course we ran out of money, and then Fashtam basically failed, because even with that money we couldn't do nothing. So then the investor didn't want to invest no more, of course. But that's the first startup. I actually, with the other things, projects that I did, I was able to raise money in a different way. Well, first of all, I worked for another startup. It was Cam TV, and we basically were able to raise $6 million with crowdfunding. So basically, I was able to help my current partner in my current startup to raise $6 million. It was one of the top crowdfunding campaigns in Europe. So that was another way to raise money. Right now, we are raising money in a completely different way because we are leveraging the crypto world. So the crypto world allows you to basically multiply your current cash flow by basically investing in alternative asset classes that are basically cryptocurrencies. And also to raise money in a decentralized way by leveraging people that believe as the crowdfunding in your project, but they basically have a different way to participate because thanks to the tokenization of your company and of your assets, you are able to basically give them tokens as part of your company to these people that are going to invest in your company. So right now we're leveraging crypto because it's very easy, to first of all multiply your cash flow. But maybe you bootstrap it. So basically, I don't know, if I put 5K and my other partner put 5K, in a matter of 6 months, we can have 100K thanks to the fact that we take this cash flow from our company and we invest the cash flow in, I don't know, in Bitcoin, because we believe that if we don't do this, basically, first of all, thanks to the fact that it's very difficult to raise money in Italy, we cannot raise money in 6 months without a project. So we use Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency to basically multiply our current cash flow. And also another reason is that it's our, we don't give away shares, etc. So right now we leverage this word, and I'm also happy to discuss more about this because there are stories of people that I know and partners in other companies, etc. that actually were able to leverage this way better than us. So yeah.
Well, so that's for sure really interesting, Marco. The using of the cryptocurrencies to finance and having this kind of multiplier. I think that's really good, and hopefully also in the future will still be a thing. And so about this specifically, what do you believe would be the future of the digital startups? So taking into account the cryptos, how do you believe this may change also the startups in the digital space?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, 100%. If the current digital startups want to really do something great in the next 10 years, next 5 years, etc., they have to be in the crypto space. They have to decentralize their company and to tokenize their assets, because otherwise they're going to be behind. And especially in Italy, I think there is a lot of misinformation, misunderstandings about this word. A lot of companies think that it's a very risky industry, and it's very not very clear, bureaucratically and legally speaking, if they can do this. But I can assure you that internationally speaking, a lot of companies are doing this step, of basically transitioning from a digital, product and a digital company to a decentralized, blockchain-powered, tokenized company. Because it's very easy to basically market, because everyone right now finally gets the importance of decentralization and gets the importance of tokenization. And so from the point of view, it makes sense. Also makes sense from a point of view, again, from a cash flow point of view, because again, you don't rely anymore on a centralized institution that gives you money, but you rely on a decentralized ecosystem that gives you money. There are companies in the crypto space like DAO Dime or TrustSwap or other like digital crypto startups, they are like decentralized incubators, decentralized basically hedge funds, decentralized companies that help you raise money through the power of blockchain and communities. So if for example, I want to basically raise and take to the next level my startup, I can go to DAC.Dime. I can apply, I enter the decentralized incubator, and I raise money by tokenizing my asset that I can sell to other users. They invest in my token because they believe in my token. It's not like 4 years ago there was the ICO, etc. That was like very scamish, etc. Right now we're talking more about IDO, IFO, and they're all like terms, like specific terms, like basically you are more like as a user that want to invest in a project, you're like more safe, because these are like there are a lot of due diligence. So to enter these incubators or these platforms where you can raise money, you gotta pass a lot of selections. So but once you pass these selections, I mean, you can raise as much money as you want. I can assure you that once you tokenize your assets, on the sky is the limit. Like right now, it's very easy to raise money, especially right now that with the COVID-19, there is a lot of cash outside, and people want to spend the cash. And when they want to spend the cash, they invest in everything they want. So I think the next 2 years, if a startup don't really transition to this world, is gonna die, because even like VCs are gonna suffer a lot from this competition of decentralization, because you understand that I can tell you this story actually. A startup of my friend in Chicago, they actually rejected a VC proposal because they prefer to raise money through this platform in a decentralized way. So you understand that like VCs now are like, damn, I cannot even like invest in startups right now. How can I make money as an organization? So yeah, I mean, that's for me the vision of the future from the point of view of fundraising. Yeah.
And Marco, sorry, can you just clarify when you say tokenize the assets, what is that meaning in?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, think about it like an IPO. Mm-hmm. So basically, once you have like your backend as a digital startup is blockchainized, so you run through the blockchain of a specific project, like, I don't know, Ethereum blockchain, every other blockchain in the market right now. Once you are into that, technologically speaking, you have the opportunity to basically create a token, a utility token, a governance token that basically run the economy of your platform. In order to do that, you need to basically, you can do it on your own, or you can do it through other platforms. Once you do it with other platforms, they also give you the opportunity to basically do this IPO publicly, right? So basically what happens is like, you organize like an event in the future where you say, okay, guys, you can buy now my tokens at this exact time. Once you buy this token, you will be able to trade this token, that is my token, in another exchange, etc. Or you can take this token and basically use it to basically participate in the ecosystem of my platform. For example, by voting, the next features of the platform, by basically run the economy. So you can decide every topic of the platform. You can govern the platform in a certain way. But also what you can do is like pay things in the platform. So for example, if this platform is like a gaming platform, and inside this gaming platform, you want to buy items to customize, I don't know, your avatar, etc. You can use the token of this company to buy these items, etc., etc., etc. So every company right now is like that in the crypto space. So,
Okay, cool. And so this doesn't it's completely not related to the concept of shares. So you're not giving, with the tokens, you're not giving parts of the company or something.
You're not giving the shares, but it's like more powerful of the shares, because when you invest in a company and you buy shares, at the end of the day, you don't have anything. Like, you don't have voting power, dividends. Okay, sometimes you have dividends. But literally, like, if you buy a token of a company, you have way more benefits. and way more possibility compared to the traditional financial market.
Okay, thanks. Really interesting.
Was a lot of food for thought, and I honestly think that in the future we could have some more episodes on some of the topics you mentioned because they're super interesting.
For sure.
And I just wanted to summarize some of the key messages that you delivered to us. And if you want to add anything, just feel free to do so. But I think that first of all, the first message is that doing like launching a venture and becoming an entrepreneur is an emotional roller coaster. And one thing that probably people don't talk about a lot is that there are a lot of negative moments. And in order to overcome them, you really need to be purpose-driven and have a vision. And that's what helps you, together with possibly a strong team that shares your own mission and vision. So that's the first message. Another thing that I really liked about what you said is that the idea selection is quite tricky, but probably each entrepreneur have their own process. But what and where you need to start from is the problem. So as soon as you detect a problem, and it's probably academic, but you have to think about a solution and turn that into an opportunity, and that's where the entrepreneurial opportunity lies. In terms of financing, I think that was an interesting story. You basically tried them all. So you started with equity, then you went on to debt, and then you let's say landed into this active investment in alternative assets like alternative asset classes. And I really think that we could summarize it in as like from the American dream to the crypto dream. Where probably you mentioned that the cryptocurrencies are becoming big and something that is not only a source of financing, but a cultural shift that can bring along new business models. And you mentioned in the end that probably we will have, like in your opinion, digital companies will become decentralized companies, and that is what will make the difference. So it was really a lot of food for thought. And if you want to add anything, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we can have some more talk.
Yeah, I mean, just to close, for me, my vision for the next 10 years is that the next digital companies that are going to win are the ones that are going to remove the gap in terms of income between people. So the company that are going to basically push towards a world where there is a universal basic income are going to companies that are going to win in this industry, specifically in the crypto industry, but in general in the digital industry. Because right now we went through like 10 years of startups where basically the centralization model was driven by making the companies as rich as possible to basically give higher returns to investors and VCs. But you can understand now that if we're gonna live in a decentralized world where like everyone can participate in the economy, everyone can get incentives and rewards, etc., everyone will be able to basically have way more, slice of the enormous cake of this digital industry that we're living right now. So the startups that incentivize behaviors and make sure that everyone can have the same possibility to have a small slice of the cake are going to win. In each industry, it can be like financial industry, can be the gaming industry. Like for example, there are startups that makes you make money if you play and if you do something inside the platform. Like every industry, if the user are going to make money, okay, the company is going to win. So definitely want to contribute myself around this macro trend that I can see for the next 10 years.
That's very inspiring, and I agree. Like the moment that you're able to help people and give back to the community, then not only you're a successful company, but probably you're also seen as and perceived as sustainable and helpful for others. So Marco, thank you very much for your input and for your pieces of advice, and really looking forward for our next chat.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Marco, so
Bye-bye.
much.
Ciao, guys.